there. Welcome to the Movie Review Mom YouTube channel. If this is the very first time you've discovered it, yay, you're finally here. I've been waiting for you. And if you're a returning subscriber, yay, thank you so much for coming back. As you know, my goal is to give you the heads up on filmmaking quality and content so that you can make the best decision as to whether or not you want to spend time or money or both sometimes watching a particular film. So today, the movie I'm reviewing is called Identity Crisis. This teen dramedy is now available on Redbox, Vudu, Amazon Prime Video, or Apple TV Plus. So the movie is rated PG and is an hour and 32 minutes. My overall movie review mom grade is probably somewhere around a B to maybe a B minus. So let me explain why. First, I'll give you an overview in a nutshell, and then I'll point out things I liked, things I didn't like, tips for parents, themes worth talking about, funny lines, interesting lines, and recommendations for other films that are sort of similar that you might also really like. Okay, so let's dive in. In a nutshell, the story is about a college student who is a bit of a genius who figures out how to clone herself. The film was written by Alexandra Boylan and Andrea Polnazik, or maybe it's Polnazik. Sorry, Andrea, or is it Andrea? Sorry, I probably am butchering your name. I apologize. Anyway, the film has already won the Reframe Stamp Award, which is an award for featuring women in film casts and crews. Did you even know there was an award for that? There is, of course. So there were a lot of things I really liked about this movie. First of all, I love that the protagonist in the story is played by twin sisters, Scout and Sophia Tayui-Lepore. And hopefully I pronounced that name. Sorry, girls, if I messed that one up too. So I'm an identical twin. So that's absolutely what caught my eye when I saw this movie. If you're a twin too, you absolutely have to go to the annual Twins Days Festival in Twinsburg, Ohio. It's held the first weekend of August every year, and it is so much fun. My twin sister and I went, and my twin sister's husband is a twin. He has a fraternal twin sister. Anyway, at this festival, we all wore little matching outfits, and they have twin food and twin talent shows and twin parades and twin cocktail hours and twin everything. And it was so much fun. So at least once in your life, you need to check it out. Now, back to the movie. All of the extras in the cast are actual students at Grand Canyon University. So that's cool. Some of the cast members include Maria Canals-Barrera, Alistair Latham, Laura Lee Turner, and Finn Roberts, among many more. I think everyone struggles with imposter syndrome and who they really are at least one time in their life, right? Viewers will enjoy a sweet film that touches on those things and one that encourages you to make the changes you want to see in your life. While the movie isn't a typical Christian movie, it does mention that God created us in his image, and because of that, we all have intrinsic value and worth. Now, we see Christian crosses occasionally on campus, and a university professor talks openly about God. However, it doesn't have that typical preaching Christian reputation that a lot of Christian movies have. Now, I'm Christian, and so I like those movies. I watch them. However, I readily admit that many of them are super cheesy. So I liked that if this is a Christian movie, it's definitely not preachy at all. It just happens to be that some of the characters are Christian. And so I liked that. I think that makes it more palatable for mainstream audiences. The movie also has a lovely soundtrack. And I love that the movie features a girl in science who actually wants to learn. As a university professor myself, I love it when students actually seek knowledge and take their education seriously. Sadly, that doesn't happen that often. For example, I just finished grading an end of the semester essay from a student where the students were supposed to write a course reflection. It was an essay on all of the things that they learned. And in this particular class, it was an English 102 rhetorical study class. And 100% of the essay was written by AI. Oh, I learned so much. Learning to write well is important to me, is what she said. And yet she didn't write a word of it. I mean, that's what I'm talking about. Okay, back to the movie. It's also really refreshing to see a movie with lots of really nice people instead of bullies and jerks. The classic dressing room montage is cliched, but still super cute. Keep watching during the final rolling credits for some clips that show behind the scenes filming of the movie and outtakes. I think all comedies should definitely have outtakes and bloopers, don't you? Now, onto the list of things that I didn't like or just thought could have been done better or a little differently. First of all, the musical numbers were nice, but it was super distracting to see how the lips didn't quite match the audio when the girl was singing. Some of the college students appear to have unlimited funds and constantly go shopping to buy new clothes, something which might frustrate young viewers whose expectations are that they should be able to do the same thing. Now, when I was in college, I didn't have any money. I mean, that's the cliche, right? The starving student. And I had to really watch my pennies carefully. So I wasn't out buying new clothes at all. Now, on to some tips for parents. Older kids, especially girls, I think, can be motivated and inspired by the story because it features two young women, the twin or the main protagonist and her clone, and they both have an identity and personality. They share the same identity and personality, but they're both kind of dealing with who am I? There is some kissing in the movie. Now, I'm not saying that's bad. I'm just giving you the heads up on the content. And then there is a competitive, kind of belittling older sister, which I thought she was super annoying and mean. Now, some of the themes that are illustrated really well are working with a team, self-confidence, self-worth, fear, cloning, of course, girls in science, being assertive, imposter syndrome, everyone's DNA makes them unique, and allowing family members to change. And that speaks to that older sister who is very belittling and put her sister kind of in a box and won't allow her to expand and grow and learn and be a different type of a person. Now, when I watch movies, I always take notes, and I especially like to write funny lines and interesting lines simply so I can share them with you so you get a taste of the dialogue and the script writing quality. Now, I look back at my notes and I didn't write down any funny lines. Now, the movie is a comedy, but it's not laugh out loud hilarious with incredibly funny, amusing, memorable lines. So anyway, I didn't include any of those, but I do have some interesting lines. And by the way, you can see all of them on my written review at moviereviewmom.com. So here's a line spoken by Henry, who's played by Alistair Latham, and he says, "You won't know until you try." And there's this character, he works at the school where one of the main girl also works, is how she got to know him on campus. And he is just filled with one-liner bits of wisdom and genius that he shares with her. So that was just one of them. Another one that he says is, "You got to put yourself out there, Madison, or you might end up regretting all the things you never did." So he is always encouraging to her, and how lucky to have someone like that in your life, especially when you're young or in college. And again, as a university professor, I would love for students to come to me and sit down and talk to me about, who they are and who they want to be. Most of the time, they are just coming because they need tutoring help with their assignments, or they want to argue about their grade, which is unfortunate. Now, another character is the professor at this school, and she says, "I don't think perfection is possible." And I love some of the conversations that she has with her classmates. She's teaching a course on cloning and often talks about the uniqueness of individuals. And she focuses on plants, but she absolutely extends that conversation into human beings. And so she just seemed like a really great teacher. And then in another conversation, she says, "Better is a matter of opinion. It's all subjective." Because this girl is saying, "I want to be better. How do you get better? How do you become perfect?" Because she's trying to design this clone to be her better self. And so that's when this professor says that. And then another line that the professor says is, there is great precision in creation. And that's when she's having a conversation about how this girl has been created in the image of God. So Sophia Tayui-Lepore says, confidence is a mindset. And the movie absolutely teaches her how to be more confident. There are so many people who call themselves introverts, but really what it is they're lacking confidence in themselves. And not that you have to be loud and obnoxious and all of that and be an extrovert, but to have more confidence in what you're doing anyway. And so I like that she said confidence is a mindset, and your body actually takes a cue. There's a body language trick that I actually teach my students, that when they're feeling frightened, or if they have to give a speech, or they're just not feeling self-confidence, to do the Superman pose, where you spread your legs and you put your arms on your hip and you spread out, you breathe in deeply. And I know a lot of professional speakers do that before they go on stage. It actually creates this physiological condition where your brain goes, oh, I'm feeling confident. So next time you have to do something like that, or you're not feeling confident, check that out. Try it. Tell me if it works. Comment down below. Then another cute line, actually, this would be probably the category of funny lines, but I absolutely could relate to it. And so that's when Scout, Tayui-Lepore, one of the two twins, she says to the other version of herself, try this on so I can see how it looks on me. And it made me laugh because as a twin, I've absolutely done that with my twin sister. And I just got such a kick out of that, because being twins, you can totally do that. And then here's another one. I'll just end with this line. And that is when Scout Tayui-Lepore says, just because we can do something doesn't mean we should. And that speaks to her ability to make a clone of herself. Doesn't mean she should have done that, although lessons were learned. So there are some movies that I instantly thought of as I was watching this one. The first one is such a cute movie, comedy called Multiplicity. It stars Michael Keaton, and it's kind of an older one, but he clones himself over and over and over again, and just some hilarious things happen. And I love that in the movie, I don't know why I remember this, but I just do. In the movie, he makes kind of like a Xerox copy of himself, which is pretty good, a pretty close clone, right? And then he gets a copy and makes a copy. And when you do that, like on a Xerox machine, the quality is not as good. And then if you keep making copies of the subsequent copies, the quality gets worse and worse. And that's one of the little running gags throughout the film, which is pretty cute. One of my favorite cloning movies. Another one that's totally different movie, a very dramatic, serious movie, is called Swan Song. I think it came out 2 years ago. You can actually watch my review of that one. I'll cue that one to load up so you can watch it. It's a really interesting movie about cloning, the technology. Should we do it? What are the moral and ethical ramifications of doing that? And then the last one is called Gemini Man. Again, it's not exactly a clone, but sort of. I don't want to give too much away, but it's very interesting, starring Will Smith. All right, that's it. Thanks so much for spending some time with me. I hope if you watch this movie that you get a kick out of it like I did. When you get a minute, run over to Instagram and you can find me there as Movie Review Mom. But like a clone, you can also find me there as my real self, Trina Boice. And you can find information about my books when they go for sale for free on Amazon, as well as my online courses and some of my other shenanigans. All right, have a fantastic day, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye for now.